Hey everybody, it's Wanetah and Jason here, and today we are talking everything A to Z websites on HighLevel, meaning we are going to show you everything from purchasing a domain all the way to delivering it to your clients or keeping it for yourself as a rank and rent website. Yes, Jason? So,
Absolutely.
today, we are covering all of these topics very quickly. It's going to be a long video, a very thorough video. We will do our best to do the timestamps as well as, if you would be so kind, to comment on any section that you would like to see clipped. That would help me out greatly. So, to not waste your time, we are covering these subjects. If you don't hear the subject, please carry on. Go high level versus Wix, WordPress, and Squarespace. Picking a niche, competitor research, and site layouts. Buying your domain, building your site, setting up a sub account, transferring the domain to a sub account, buying and attaching the domain, set up chat widget, set up phone number, finding clients and charging for sites. And after all of that, we're also going to answer some FAQs, which we really appreciate all of your comments. That's what this whole episode is based on, are all of your comments and questions about websites. So that being said, Jason, take it away.
Awesome. So, yes, today is all about building a website, but I have talked about that on many other videos in the past. It's going to be a little bit different today, as Juanita said, because we're taking it all the way through A to Z. And this is going to be a long video, very thorough video. But I think we get so many questions about this that I really want to just go all the way from buying a domain to getting it live on the internet and everything in between. So, we'll talk all about that. So, with that, I'm going to shift back to our notes here and show you the first thing that we initially want to talk about is Go High Level versus all the other website builders out there that I can think of. And some of the main ones here are Wix, WordPress, Squarespace, and ClickFunnels is one that I've used a lot in the past as well. So the reason that this is different than a lot of you might be used to is because WordPress, if you've ever had a WordPress website, then you know that you can take WordPress hosting and put it on, take a WordPress website and put it on whatever hosting you want, Bluehost or GoDaddy or wherever else you want to host a site. So some consumers, some business owners are used to paying for somebody to design their site and then they go and pay for hosting wherever they want to. But a lot of business owners also get their site on like a GoDaddy. They build it on like the free platform, or they go and spring for Wix or Squarespace or one of those kind of drag and drop website builders. And what's unique about those is if you stop paying the monthly bill to Wix or to Squarespace or to ClickFunnels, even, then that site goes away, right? You can't continue to have the site because it's built on the platform that it's being hosted by. And that is very similar to ClickFunnels. I'm sorry, to High Level. So when we build sites for people on High Level, if they stop paying our monthly bill for our SaaS company, then they also lose access to their site. So it makes the sites more sticky. But I see some comments like people will never do this. Look at Wix, look at Squarespace. They have millions of people using their sites collectively, and people do it all the time. So the other thing is we're not just giving them websites, we're giving them an abundance of other things like chat widgets and missed call text back and other things that we're going to build into the site. So the site is just one feature of the overall business engine that we're developing for them. Okay. So back to
Yep.
our notes again.
And that
That
makes
is that.
sense. And I just want to say, as someone who is non techie and has to deal with your website, the client is most likely not going to care who's hosting the website. I would find it really confusing at first when I started, when I had my first website and I was working with a web person, that it had to be hosted somewhere else. So having it all in one is not going to be a problem.
Right. And the other thing to point out here is that's the main reason that I don't say to give somebody a free website and just call it a free website. Because if you give them that and they stop paying the bill, then you still, because you've given them this free website that they think they're going to have forever, you now have to maintain and host that forever that you've promised them, right? Otherwise, you have to figure out some way to compensate them for that. Because if you stop paying for your high level bill, then that whole hosting thing goes away and their site goes away. So that's why, even at a minimum, I say the website design may be free, but you still have to pay even 10 bucks, 20 bucks, 30 bucks a month to maintain the hosting, even if you stop using all of our other services. So hopefully that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Make sure that they really understand that. So let me ask you this, Jason. When you say the web design is free, Juanita, but you have to pay for hosting and it's all included in this in our software, right? Let's say you part ways and I say, well, the web design was free. Does that mean that I get to keep the design and I get
No,
to keep my website?
yeah, good question. So, no, you have to make that clear, I guess, that the site is designed on our platform. So, the hosting is all part of the package. But if you stop paying for the hosting, you can't take the site and go somewhere else and upload it there. It doesn't work that way.
So it's all in one. So basically, you just want to be very clear. I wouldn't say you're getting a free website, you're getting a free website design. What I would say is that I'm including the design of the website and the what website lives on this platform. You can own the domain name and make sure that they know that. They might come in with a domain, they might not have one. So, how do you handle that? Because that's a frequently asked question as
About
far
the
as
domain?
yeah, a lot of people wanna know, do we purchase the domain for them and set it up, or do we make the client?
Right. So with the domain name, if you have a business owner that already has a domain, but maybe their site is outdated or something, then we can just take that domain and point it to our new site. And we're going to walk through all of that on this training. But if somebody is brand new, they don't have a site, and you're building it from scratch and they don't even know what a domain is or whatever, then you can go ahead and what I would recommend is just buy the domain for them. So it's abcplumbing.com, and then if they ever want to leave you, you just give them that domain. So it's, maybe a 10 buck investment, but it'll save you a lot of headache from them having to learn how to go on GoDaddy and buy the domain and then give you access to the back end of it and all that stuff. It'll just save you some headache. It's not a big deal, but it's just for 10 bucks I'd rather just not have to deal with that.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool. So let's go to our list again, and we'll go
Mhm.
to step number 2, which is
Picking
picking a
a
niche.
niche.
So we've talked about picking a niche on a lot of other videos. We do have a domain today that we've already purchased. I am going to show you how to go and purchase a new one if you want to, but I didn't want to buy another one randomly. I'd rather build this one out so it kind of benefits us for building a site out and teaching you guys in the process. Hopefully that's cool. So the niche that we have is in the concrete niche. So people that come and pour slabs of concrete for a driveway, or if you're in a mobile home park, they do the whole plots there that people can drive on. Even like big places like foundation for homes and things, they can do that kind of concrete. But I found a domain a while back, and I'll show you it. We're going to build the entire thing. I'll show you why I decided on this one. Um, and then ultimately, what our goal would be is to build this site out, get it ranked on Google, and then we own the domain, we own the website, everything on our high level platform, and then we just rent that site out to a business owner that does concrete in this particular city, so that if they ever don't want the site, we retain ownership. We can just find a new business owner and rent it out to them for 500,000 bucks a month or something like that. So I like this idea. I want to start moving more in this direction because then we own this digital real estate, and we can have a lot of passive income coming in from these sites that these business owners are renting from us, and they get all the leads that come from it. They don't have to worry about it, and they know that they're going to get roughly a consistent amount of leads every month. But again, we own the site, so we don't have to worry about them ever canceling and then taking their business away, and we don't have any money, right?
Mhm. So, as far as picking a niche goes for someone who is not doing a rank and rent site, obviously, picking a niche is for that, right? If you're going to get into ranking and renting, then you want to get into a really good niche, and we can talk about the kind of things that we look for when we're selecting that niche. But obviously, if you have a client, they're going to have their own niche, right? So, Jason, what are some things that you're going to look for when deciding on a niche?
Great question. So I like, I'm going to pull up Google in a moment, but I like service based, like things that require a phone call. So that somebody will search on Google for sometimes an emergency service, like they need an emergency plumber, they need an emergency dentist, they need towing, or they just need a big job that somebody would be calling people that they found on Google for. and can get a quote over the phone, or get that kind of interaction. Typically, it's not a physical location that people are going to go into, because we obviously don't have a physical location in the concrete niche, but that's more of like a phone call is going to come in, and then we can route that phone call to a business owner. So I like those, like home services type of niches, if that makes sense.
Yep. And the reason why we like these so much is because, people are busy, right? And so if I need a plumber, my life does not stop just because I need a plumber. So I'm not necessarily going to go through and rank every single plumber I see on Google. I'm not going to get a rates. Typically, you might get one or two, right? But usually the first person who can come out, you're going to go with. And that's why the emergency niche is so great because I'm looking to find someone fast, right? There's no like research that I'm doing to look for the best one, the top ranking, the most
Right.
awarded, plumber in town, right? So that's why these things work so well.
Yeah. And we are getting more and more experience with this. So I haven't done a ton of rank and rent, although I have ranked a lot of sites on Google. So this is going to be an ever growing journey with us. We're going to try this one and learn from it, and then watch future videos to see how well these things do. But I know there are a lot of people that are doing this model. And I think for somebody with high level, this is a great additional way to try if you're wanting to diversify the ways that you receive income through high level, which there's so many of them. This is a great method as well to try. So I'm going to pull up Google here and just show you a few things that I would look for in selecting this. So I'm going to do, you pick a city, like a smaller city. It's going to be harder to rank for like Houston plumber or Dallas attorney, Dallas injury attorney, than it would be for a slightly smaller city and those services. So we'll look at
Which
Katie.
Katy is not a small city. It's
Right,
just
but
not
I just
necessarily Houston. So if you are in a large city, there's always these little subdivisions or, greater Houston outskirts, cities and towns all around it. So, we're just picking a specific area.
right. So to look at competition here, I basically just pick a city and pick a niche. So we'll do plumbing here, and then we're going to switch over to concrete in a moment too. But I skip these. What I'm looking for is down here. This is a sponsored ad, so we're going to go below that because that's somebody paying to be in this spot. And then down here, I'm just going to see what kind of competition I have. So I see a couple people ranking. Let's see, Katie Plumbing Company, KatiePlumbers.com, and then Katie-Plumber.com. And one of these is probably a rank and rent site. And then there's some directories, so Yelp and Angie,
You just cut
and
out,
then a few
Jason.
other.
You just
Oh,
you
can
just
you hear
kind
me
of
now?
skipped. I can hear you. Yeah, it just kind of glitched for a second, so you might want to repeat that. But
Okay. So here's Katie-Plumber.com. And then down here, you'll see that there are some directory listings. And those are things that have a lot of different listings on them. These typically don't rank that well unless there's just not a lot of competition to beat them out, because Google would prefer to give you somebody that you can actually call and do business with versus sending traffic to a Yelp or an Angie that will then get the leads on there, and then they'll sell the leads. They'd rather you pay for clicks or rank up here versus the directory sites.
okay, so that being said, then when you're thinking of a domain, you don't want to be like katie-plumber.com because it's
Uh,
not going to rank as well.
so you can do, what I like to do is, it used to be what we could do is called exact match domains, where it'd be katieplumber.com,
Mm.
and we would rank instantly. Now, you still can, but what I like to do now is add some kind of additional word on there, like Katie Plumbing Pros or Katie Plumber
Make it
Company or
sound
something
like
like
a
that.
business.
Exactly. Because you'll get a lot of local people that, if once you start outranking them, they'll start getting upset and try to do something to your site or complain or whatever. So if you can kind of blend in and look like another local business, I think it's more beneficial to you. But you still can rank with like a Katie Plumbers or Katie Plumbing. You just don't want to do Katie Plumbing near me or Katie Plumbing companies where it's plural, where it sounds like it's a directory. I wouldn't do that.
Plumbers of Katie.
Yeah.
Okay. All
So
right.
so now I can see a couple of these. We'll just click on some of these and just see what we have, and then we'll do the same thing for concrete, and I'll show you why I picked that one. So this looks like a legit company. We can and I see these trucks around town anyway. So they're probably the market leaders here. They get most of the Google searches here. They have a decent looking website. Um, so what we want to see here, and we'll do this more on the concrete, is really what sites that are in this niche are going to require. So we're going to have different categories of the services that they offer. We're going to see different types of services. So drain cleaning, general plumbing, commercial plumbing, emergency plumbing. We'll start building this out in a second when we start building our site list. That's really what we're looking for here.
So are you saying that you're looking for how extensive the website build would have to be?
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
looking at not only how extensive, but also um, how much content the sites that are ranking have, so that I'll know if I could easily beat them with a minimal site to get going.
Okay.
And when I'm building my site, I'll kind of get some ideas for what types of things I'm going to have to do. Like every site, if I was doing a plumbing site, I would have a section for residential plumbing. I would have a section for commercial plumbing. So I can already kind of build a mental list of the pages that I'll need to build.
Okay. So those pages, all of those categories aren't necessarily deterring you. I mean, they are because it's like you have to do the same amount or more of content, but you're also it's not necessarily a no-go. You're just looking at, okay, what kind of content do I need on my website if I'm going to compete?
Right. And with high
Okay.
level, what I love about it, we've talked about it on previous videos, is that you can use AI to build out a lot of this content. So I'm not overwhelmed by this. If I was starting from scratch and had to manually do all of this, I would probably not pick something that was extremely difficult. But
Mhm.
the other part of this is this, you don't have to do all of this on day one. This is an ever growing thing because you own the site. You are going to be able to go when you have free time and build out a new page and build out a new page and eventually rank this out. If it was a client we're doing SEO for, then obviously we're on a timeline. We have to make this thing happen quickly. And the worst part of that is, because I've done this before, when you rank a client top of Google, then they're like, well, why am I still paying you? Like, I
Mhm.
already have the result versus you're doing it for yourself. So now you're benefiting yourself to maintain that ranking.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
So what else is there anything else we're looking for?
That is the main things that I'm looking for. There are some other tools and things where you can really analyze the competition, but for this, I'm just going to show you the concrete example and kind of why I picked that one, and then we'll build that out. Because
Okay.
I don't want to spend all of this on
Yeah.
the analyzation. I'd rather this be about the site build.
So far, when picking a niche, Jason is looking for something that could rank on Google. He starts off by putting in a city and then the actual profession or the service, right? So we went Katie and then we went plumbing and then he checked them all out. He went underneath the sponsored ads, found who was ranking first, who's not paid, right? And then he's looking to see how much content is on there. Is it really heavy with content? Am I gonna have to really build this thing out? So ideally, we would look for something where it's kind of minimal content would work, right? And then also how extensive the website is, right?
Right.
So far that's what we're kind of looking at.
Yep. And so I the other day was just searching around different cities and niches, and we live around Katy, so I looked up Katy Concrete, and I scrolled down, and I found obviously Thumbtack is one of those other directory sites. It's
Mhm.
sponsored here, but then I saw Katy Concrete Pros, which is if I was picking a domain, that would be a great one to pick, and this might be a directory. I mean a rank and rent site. But then I saw this one, Katy Concrete Service, and I had been looking at how to acquire different Facebook pages and things. So I just kind of clicked on it to see, and it looked like obviously they're ranking number two for their Facebook page, but Looks like I won't be able to see it all the way through, but I'll have to log in on this one. But when I clicked on it, they hadn't made a post in several months. I think it was maybe over a year or two. So I checked the domain on GoDaddy and I found that it was available. So one of two things happened. That company either went out of business, they didn't succeed, or it was somebody trying to build a rank and rent site and just kind of gave up on it. But over time, their Facebook page started to rank. So I said, okay, well, if that's there already, that's already a great link to the domain that I'm going to get. So I went ahead and bought that domain, katieconcreteservices.com. Let me see. I might have got out of my Google search here.
Question while you do that, and you might not know the answer to this, Jason, but if I had a website that I started ranking as Katie Concrete Service, right? And there was a Facebook page called Katie Concrete Service, and that one was doing pretty well. Would I still rank above them, above
Uh,
the
typic-
Facebook page?
Typically, the domain will rank above the Facebook page, not always, but a lot of times it will. And this will serve as what's called a backlink to your domain. So you already have a great link from Facebook to your domain, which will push your website even higher. And you'll have a lot more relevant content on your site. So this just gives you two spaces here for that. The unfortunate part is the only thing I can't take over. I've messaged this page multiple times to see if they'll let me have the page, but nobody's responded to me. But the phone number that's showing up on this page is different than what I'll ultimately have. But all the domains and everything that because they ran some ads in the past or posted some ads on their page, all those links for Katie Concrete Services will go uh, to my new website that I'm going to build. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
So, and that doesn't deter you from using this domain name?
No, it encourages me because, like I said, the hardest thing is to get um, backlinks if you're just starting out. So getting link sites to link to you, and since this is already ranking so high, this gives me two spots on Google that um, I can have ranking myself.
So explain to me again then what how you're going to, if that has a different number, how are you going to get those people over to the website?
So the number is just one time they referenced it just on the Google on the Facebook page, but all the things that they posted, like we do concrete for commercial, we do concrete for residential. Go to katieconcreteservices.com or whatever. That's multiple times that they've posted that thing over and over and over again. All those will now forward to our domain that we're about to build.
Oh, so they've referenced katieconcreteservice.com
Right.
because they used
That's
to have that website?
exactly. That's why I went and bought it because
Okay.
it's
That's where
already
I was
here.
confused.
Yeah.
Got you.
And then you can see, so the Facebook page is ranking already. Then a Yelp listing is ranking above these other things. So it gives me good encouragement. And then a Better Business Bureau, Angie. There's not a ton of competition here. I bet if I
Mhm.
clicked on like Concrete Katy, Texas, that looks like something somebody trying to rank and rent would do. So let's just see what this is. So this is likely a rank and rent site. Let's see if they have an address. What you'll notice is oftentimes they're kind of generic in that they don't um, specify an address or anything like that. So that is that. Looks like it is one. Okay, so let's go to our list here. We've picked our niche, competitor research, site layout. So I'm going to now look for what competition is ranking. We already started kind of doing that, but now I'm going to get a little more granular and really look at the topics that they're talking about, what categories they have, how many pages they have roughly, and that kind of stuff. So, any questions so far?
No. I think
Okay.
we've done a little bit of that, right?
hmm So, I have my little notepad here. So, let's start with this one since this is ranking number one. Okay. So, this is likely a rank and rent site. And why do I think that?
Why do you think that?
Yeah. Or why do you think this would be a rank and rent site?
Well, I see this site is managed by Jerson's Concrete. So
So that's so exactly. So the Katie Concrete Pros, somebody probably ranked this site and then and rented it out to Jerson's Concrete. So number one, that's a great lead for me because once we rank our site, we can reach out to Jerson's Concrete and see if they would want to rent our site as well. Um, and two, there's not a ton of stuff on here, right? Like
it's
look at
very
our
generic. I mean,
right.
everything is very generic, and they're saying contractors, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
To me, it just screams that it's not a business. We have more than 20 years of experience, you guys. It's than. Just letting you know. Sorry, I'm a
So
stickler for spelling.
so really the big things residential, commercial, concrete. So we're going to put those on our list here.
So we're looking for what we need as far as content.
And while I'm doing this too, I just want to reiterate that I have been doing SEO and website building for 20 years, but I am by no means an SEO expert. So, some of you who are watching, you may know way better ways to do this. That just should give you even more encouragement. But I guarantee you that I will find a way to get these sites ranked. I'm going to keep learning and keep providing value to you guys as we build more of these. But from my knowledge that I have so far, this is how I'm building them out. And I'm going to show you front to back how we do it. And then you'll be able to check and see how these things do. One other thing I'd like to ask, because I know doing public demonstrations is very risky, is that you don't go and fill out the forms and things on these sites. Eventually, we'd like to rent this thing out. I know I can't stop you, but I'm begging you, please don't fill it out. We'll create some other demo sites in the future that you can just test things, but just be cool and don't try to mess up what we're doing here for you guys publicly. All right. So residential concrete, commercial concrete. There's really not a lot to this site, which is highly encouraging. Like this is the one page that they have. Address is Katy, Texas. um, I mean, there's nothing to this site, which is great for us.
I mean, that's a dead giveaway that it's not a company.
Right,
Certainly not a brick and mortar business.
right. So I think this is going to be a great thing. Now, don't go. Also, be cool as well. Don't go do Katy Concrete companies.net or whatever. Like go find another city. You can do concrete wherever if you have to, but you know, try to do your own thing here. It'll work just about
Mhm.
anywhere.
Is that what
Okay.
you're asking them as far as the forms?
Yeah, well that, but like don't call the number and see what happens. Don't if there's forums on our site, we're gonna put a contact form. Don't spam the site, like that kind of stuff. Obviously I can't
Why would you ask them to not do that?
just because if we want to rent this out, I don't want the person that we have renting it to get all of your fake leads on their thing. That it just kind of wastes everyone's time.
Oh,
And I
I
just
see
know
what you're
I've done
saying.
this before. I've done public demonstrations before, and I just know that people have no imagination sometimes, and they just try to copy everything you do down to the city, and just basically copy the exact same thing that you've done and compete with you right there in your area. And you don't have to do that. You can pick another city and do your own thing. But I wanted to provide some value and actually do this publicly for you guys. So enough of that. Okay, so really not a lot to this. Let me just find one other example just so we can get a few more keywords here. Let's try Houston Concrete Company, and we'll get a probably a better idea of some topics that we can talk about.
If you went to something like Thumbtack or any of those directory websites, you could get an array of website examples.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely could. I want to see what um, the reason I'm doing it this way is because I want to see what's actually ranking number one, like what is
Right.
required to rank number one versus just a general what a site looks like that may or may not rank.
Then you could also probably find someone to rent out your site from those directories if they're
That's
already
key. Yeah,
paying.
that's a great idea. So that's definitely something I would think about. All right, so services. building foundation, site work, drainage, concrete paving. So I'm going to save some of these. We may not do all of these today, but I'll give you an idea. What was it again?
Drainage, concrete paving,
Building foundation.
drainage and detention. Drainage and detention for 500, Bob. Sounds like a
Building foundations.
site work, concrete paving. Site work. Mhm. It might be concrete pavement, but I think it's paving. Yes.
Cool. So basic layout here, we'll go back to the home site. This is ranking number one for Houston concrete. We don't know how many backlinks and things yet, but we're just kind of getting the overall layout because we're going to build something very similar in high level in just a few moments. Okay, so again,
You
pretty
know,
basic. Go ahead.
it says Bill Houston Concrete Construction. So
Hmm.
this might not even be a Houston
What is it's a 281, but
company.
I think it's
It is. Okay.
just coincidence that
That would have been
uh,
great though. We would have hit a gold mine.
yeah,
Maybe.
commercial and industrial concrete specialists get in touch. Let's see what happens when we click get in touch. So you got to fill out a form here. And
I just had the thought of if it was that way and they weren't located in Houston, then we should build a site and rank and then just pay them a little bit for everyone they send our way.
right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, people that are ranking number one know the value of it. And if you can compete with them and be ranking number two or number three, even, then they'll have double listings on Google. And it's a great type of person to reach out to. But if they say no, the great thing is that you have this asset now that you have a virtually unlimited number of people you can reach out to and try to rent it out. And the money that comes from these, from everyone that I've seen doing this, is relatively passive because you're not. There are some people that do a pay per lead type model where you're doing more of every lead that comes in, you're going to pay me $50, $100, $200, whatever it is. I like this model more because then we don't have to negotiate what was a lead, why this was a bad lead or a good lead. Like you get
Right.
every lead that comes from the site, you just pay me $1,000 a month and we just have that agreement. So it just
Right.
makes things a bit more passive. Cool. So let's start getting into the build. We'll probably reference some of these again, but I think you kind of got the idea of some of the ways. Basically, you're just going to go through, find some top listings on Google for that niche, see what their site layouts look like, what kind of topics they're covering, and then we can start building our site. And this is an ever growing thing. So if we find that what we did today isn't getting us ranked, then we just know that we need to add more content, get more links to our site, and keep growing it. But it's a living, breathing type of thing that we can keep adding to.
And when you are building these out, Jason, and you see that you need to talk about concrete, pavement, all these things, should you be asking or should you be using the same vocabulary, the same exact words as
Yeah.
keywords, or are you trying to make it different?
No, I'm definitely trying to keep it similar because this is something that Google has deemed worthy of ranking because of what they've put on here. Now, I'm not going to take the exact word for word everything that's on the site, but key
Hmm.
terms like commercial concrete or concrete specialist or commercial and industrial, some of the other things we came up with, the site work, concrete paving, drainage and detention. Like I never would have thought of that. Building foundations, that kind of stuff. Those key words that scream like I would need to know what this is something I would put on the site.
Okay.
Cool. Now
All
let's
right.
get into. Let me check my list and see where we are. So buy
Competitor
the
research
domain.
site
Oh,
layouts.
competitor. Yep. So buy the domain. So we're going to just walk you through how you would do that if you don't know. You can do this on any what's called a domain registrar. So that's like a GoDaddy. Google even does it. There's cheap domains. There's a billion of them, I'm sure. I've bought everything on GoDaddy. It's probably slightly more expensive than other places, but I just have all of my domains there. So you can buy this literally wherever you want. Let's just say we were doing Katie Concrete service, even though I have services, I think. Or we'll just check this if it's available or not. Okay, so say this was the .com, which I now own. All I would do is say make it yours, and then I go to my cart and I complete the payment. So let me find that. Okay. Now they have GoDaddy is great about trying to upsell you things. You can decide what you want to do. This is full domain protection, which means that your name is going to be anonymous on it. If you're limited on your budget, I typically don't even do this. I do no domain protection, but you totally can. And there's other places that probably offer it for free. This says start your website for free. I'm going to build my own site, so I don't need that, even though um, that's a free service they offer. And then sometimes they'll try to upsell you on email and things like that. I always do no professional email. Then I click continue to cart. Typically, you'll find there's some coupon codes and things, but for this purpose, I'm just going to show you how to check out. You could Google like GoDaddy coupons and see what you can find, save 20 or 30% sometimes. So this is another thing. As soon as you get to this page, they instantly put you at 5 years registration, which obviously we don't want. Um, I have heard that the longer that you register something, it gives Google a little bit more indicator that you're serious. But typically, I do mine on an annual basis and haven't had any trouble. So let's let this load. Okay, so we want to make sure we drop this down to 1 year. Always double check again that you spelled it correctly. I've accidentally once or twice bought a domain that I thought was perfect and then realized I had misspelled it. So katieconcreteservice.com if we have the .com already, but just showing you. So this I dropped down to a year. It dropped it down to $11.99. And then you can just click I'm ready to pay and it will process you. You'll put your credit card information in and complete your payment. So I'm not going to do that because I already own the .com.
So let me ask you this, Jason, because we get this question often as well. A lot of times people want to know when we are selling the website to the client, are we purchasing it for them, or are we making them purchase it for the domain? When this renews after a year from now, who pays for it?
Yeah, great question. So by that time, if you've been a year with a person and you're ready to transfer it over, then you can talk to them about transferring it over, and then they could have their own GoDaddy account and continue renewing that on their credit card. Or by that time, you can just charge them an annual renewal fee for the domain or something too, if you want to do that. But as it stands, you would be responsible for the renewal every year on your credit card.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So we
All
click I'm
right.
ready to
So we
pay,
bought a website.
bought a domain. Okay. So now we have katieconcreteservice.com, and that's going to be in our domain portfolio here inside of GoDaddy. And I'll show you a bit more how to set all this up in a bit, but we're going to get over to the site build. So now we know that we have the domain, so we can start building things out around that domain name. All right, so we're going to get into the building of the site inside of HighLevel and show you a lot of the templates and things like that. So we get a lot of questions about HighLevel and how to transfer sites over to other people. What I like to do is start building the site in what's called a sub account. And this is our main sub account. When you sign up for HighLevel, you get something that runs your agency. So this is Trendify. This is our software right now is called Trendify. So all the sites that I initially start building, I build in this one. And then as I'm ready to put them on their own, send them out into the world, then I'll set up its own subdomain, its own sub account where the only thing that's on that account is everything related to Katie Concrete Service or whatever client you have. Does that make sense? I feel like that was a little jumbled.
So, what I hear you saying is whenever you are just building a site, you're going to go into your sub account that already exists and build it there. And then when you have the client for it, you're going to create them their own individual sub account and move the website over to that sub account.
Exactly. Yeah. Or if
Okay.
I'm ready to launch this site out and start ranking it on Google, and I'm doing kind of the rank and rent model where I own the site, I'll still at
Right.
that point, now it's like I have a client, so I'll set it up on its own sub account so that I can set up a phone number, chat widget, everything that's just related to that site.
Okay. So that makes sense, but why do you do it that way instead of initially just creating a sub account?
It's just easier if I'm doing multiple things at once and I'm not quite done with it, to just have it all under this one dashboard. So if today I feel like working on the concrete side, I can do it. If tomorrow I'm working on the plumbing side because I'm more inspired to do that or whatever, I can bounce back and forth in one dashboard versus jumping around. But it really
Okay.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Cool. So we're going to log into our account, which we're here. If you don't know, on the $97 plan with High Level, you get three sub accounts. You can have three of these. On the 297, which I think is probably required if you wanted to do this model, 297 or higher, it gives you unlimited sub accounts. You can have unlimited websites, unlimited sub accounts, all those things. You can, on one sub account, make unlimited websites, but you only get one chat widget for the entire sub account. So I wouldn't be able to do a chat widget that says welcome to Katie concrete service if I'm on the Trendify account because the chat widget will say welcome to Trendify. Does that make sense?
Yes. So
Cool.
I mean, it does make sense, but just to clarify even more. So this is one sub account. In the sub account, you have all of these websites listed right there.
Hmm.
But the reason you have so many under one sub account is because you build a lot of these websites. So once a client takes over that website and the website is in use, then you're going to need to open up another sub account for them, correct?
Correct. And
And so
the
when you go into that sub account, let's say that electrical Mickle down there is now a client. We built this website out, we sold it to them. Now they're a client, right? So now I'm going to go in and build out their own sub account. So every time I'm working on electrical Mickle's company or business, all I see is their business.
correct.
But
And all they
this
see when they're logging in too.
is their business, right? So this is your business and you're in the business of creating websites and several software and sub accounts for different businesses, and that's why your business looks like this.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And we talked a lot about the building kind of pre-building basic sites and then rent and then finding clients later. So that's also the reason why I do this because I build a bunch of different kind of test sites, a tree service site or whatever that I don't even have a client or a domain for. I'm just kind of using it as a template to try to sell. And then once I
Mm,
have a client, I'll then go out and set them up on their own sub account and attach their domain for their company to it. And that's kind of why I do all this in one spot. But you'll see the
right.
entire process here setting up a sub account. I'm going to do all that on this video, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. So this is like your it's your inventory, really.
Exactly. Yeah,
You
good
know,
way to look at it. Like a
it's
testing
like
ground
Jason's
inventory.
website garage. This is what his sub account looks like.
Exactly. That's a good way to look at it.
All right.
Cool. So we'll start building out the basic website here. So we're going to hit new website from templates, continue. Now, what I noticed earlier, unfortunately, there is not a concrete template in here, but we will, that's even better because it'll show you if you ever come across a niche that doesn't have one, which is rare, how to go about it. Literally, you can change, if you just like the colors and the layout of any of these, you can use them for whatever you want and just change the text around with the AI tool. But let's find kind of a home service one, see if we can at least get a little more in the right direction here. So I'm probably going to have to generate some images for the site, but that's okay. Let's see. I saw some earlier that I thought about using. Let me get to them. So building, let's see.
I
Any
mean,
of
there's
these look
a
like a good start?
well, I was looking for something kind of gray, but you have that HVAC one down there, and then up there, that plumbing emergency service. It just already has a guy in a construction uniform,
This one?
So no, go up one, second one, that one
This one?
right there. Yeah, but I didn't. I wanted something with more colors, some deeper grays for concrete.
Yes.
Something a bit more sophisticated, serious in tone. I saw some earlier above that I thought looked good, but totally up to you. You're the artiste.
No, go ahead. I mean, I want
Go
to.
up. Sounds pretty dark, huh? Okay. Like bathroom renovation, number
This
two,
one.
I think
Okay.
looks pretty good.
Yeah, any of these we're gonna have to switch out imagery and stuff. So if you kind of just like the colors, it's just a good starting ground. Again, you could change the colors, text, font, everything on any of these, but we're just looking for something that'll give us a little bit of a head start.
Right.
So let's see what this looks like. A little bigger. Cool.
I like that one.
Awesome. Let's do it. So it's going to add a template for us. If you were doing plumbing or roofing or something that already had a template in, again, it would even be easier, but we're going to be work a little harder today, which I think will give you a even more understanding of how easy it is to build sites on here that you don't have a big head start on. Okay. So the first thing we're going to need is a logo. So we're going to pull up Canva and get us a logo. And we can do just a text logo if we don't find anything cool. We've talked about Canva a lot in the past. What I like about it is that um, you can really use any of the logos that they have there for free and use on your site, and it just gives it a really good professional look. But it's super easy to do. So let me get the screen here. Okay, so we're going to do concrete logo.
Concrete. And just for the sake of time, just please know that we're going to just move through this as fast as possible. Once when we're really doing this, Jason is pretty meticulous in design. But just for the sake of this is how you do it, we're going to move through this pretty quickly. So
Yeah,
don't judge us.
let's see what some of the others look like. So it's pretty basic text stuff.
Maybe do construction logo in it, or I don't know if it matters if you put the E. Concrete that Rimbero? What do you think about that? Or Borcelli? That looks like concrete, right?
Kind of. Let's look
Excavator? What's that?
more of, I mean, that could be, I guess. Um,
I
dump
mean, I
truck.
think for the sake of example, dump truck
Yeah.
logo.
Okay, that didn't work. So we'll go with your idea as should have done. So which one did you like?
I liked Rimbero, that one, and then right underneath it, Borchel.
Okay.
Um, I even think a house, is
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Okay.
The house up there and the just pick one.
All right, let's go Rombero. Rimbero.
Rimberio. Rimberio.
All right, so we have the logo done in white, which we need. It has Katie Concrete Services here. And all we're going to do is hit share and download. Transparent background so that we can put it on our website with no issues. And we're just going to do the white version of it for now. And again, this site isn't going to be the best design looking site because we don't want to waste all of your time on that. You can go and be meticulous with it later, but I do want to give you kind of a rough idea of it, and we'll go and refine it later. So we have it downloaded. We're just going to hit this little logo icon here and then scroll down to where the logo is. Hit this little image. We're going to bring it in from our computer. And then once it's loaded, we double click it. And now we have the logo here. It's a little small, but it'll work for now. Okay, so we also need a background image that is concrete related. So let's see if we can make this our first AI image, create image using AI. So who knows if this will work, but we're going to see. So concrete, I can't keep spelling it.
Concrete.
Wow. So if this doesn't work, we'll just pull something from Google for now. We're going to do photo, hit generate. Not bad.
Yeah, I like number 2.
Okay, so that's a good start here. Hit
If only
continue.
he were wearing a t-shirt with our logo.
All right. Let's see where to go.
Nice.
Content AI. Is that in here? There we go. So that's
Look
our
at
new
that.
background. Look at that.
Absolutely stunning.
And we're going to do Katie Concrete Services. Then we're going to fill this part out. Awesome. See what we get here. All right, let's try this one.
Why is Premiere spelled that way?
Might be the British version.
Hmm.
All right, so now we need to look at our other page here.
I wonder if that's how you spell Premiere versus like Premiere being like top notch versus Premiere being the first time you're watching a movie.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a few other ways, a few other words like that too. All right, so I think this will give you just the rough idea. So I'm just going to do a few more sections here and show you like how we would replace some of these images and replace some of this text. And then we'll show you how to actually transform the site over to its own sub account, set up the domain, and that stuff is more important. All this stuff you can do in your own time and you'll kind of get the idea. So we're going to do a sub headline here for, let's see,
What about for
residential.
commercial? Oh, okay.
Okay. More content AI. You just keep going through and you can keep clicking this and then go and refine it later. Um, So write a paragraph about residential concrete services. You can pick your writing tone, the number of variations and things. So we like using this bold option, but you can try some of the other ones and see. So we're getting limited on our text here. Let me go back and see if we can lengthen that a little.
Yeah, I don't think that did that because that was the same thing as the other. So I don't think it generated.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Hmm. Just going to do this and then we'll expand from there. Let's get another image for concrete. So we need to replace the image. So we go down, find the image here, hit this little image icon, create image using AI.
So let's do an image of concrete being poured onto either a carport or like foundation of a home.
And this has come so far with the image generation. The first few examples, if you watch some of our older videos, it was pretty bad. But now it's really come a long way with creating decent images to start using for your site that are totally unique to your website. Then ultimately, what I would say is, which one of these do you like?
And they're too similar to the other ones.
Okay, so you want to
So
generate some new ones?
do an image of a home.
Uh huh.
Let's do an image of a home and image of a home in the background with um, concrete being poured onto the driveway. How about that? Since it's residential, right?
Yeah, let's try it. Now, if for some reason these images don't work, you can always use like a Mid Journey or one of those other things to create the images as well.
I
But
wonder, did Shutterstock and all of those image stock footage places have they gone out of business yet?
no, they're using a lot of AI themselves to keep building up their portfolio of images. So
There we go. That's fun. They're building a slide.
it
No,
looks
just kidding.
interesting.
I think that's really interesting. I know it's, you know, I wouldn't do that because that looks messy.
We'll use this
What's
for
number
now.
3 got? Yeah.
It's got some pasta
Nope.
there.
All right. That's awesome.
I would
What
probably,
was
if none of these work, I would probably use Midjourney to go back in because I get awesome images from Midjourney. But oftentimes you'll find that the image builder right inside of High Level works great. So if we did this a few times, we'd probably get something that is totally usable. But we'll just go from there.
have we done a video on using Midjourney yet?
Um, I think so. It was one of our biggest videos on the channel.
Yeah, so check that out.
Yeah.
I think it says using Midjourney to create images using your own photo, something
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah. And we'll probably do more at some point. All right, so this
All
is
right.
basically the site build. You can go through. There are multiple pages to this site. So if we look at some of the other sites, you can see all the different pages that they have and start building similar pages to them. We'll do another video that kind of goes in more detail of building these sites out, but I really want to get you to the point of we have a site done. How do we transfer it either to a client or how do we transfer it to its own sub account so we can start building it even further for rank and rent? Sound good?
Yep. Sounds
Cool.
great.
So we're going to hit publish for now. We don't have a domain on here because we're going to attach the domain when we get it over to a sub account.
Okay, so just X out of that for now.
Yep. So we're just saving and we're going back. And this is a site that we plan on building out. So we'll make more content about this as we learn more about ranking it and all the things that go into it. But I think it's cool to show you actually how to connect the domain and the sub account and everything. Okay. So we're back in our dashboard here, and we're going to go forward like we have either sold the site to a client or we're going to move it to its own sub account for ourselves. So we just go to our agency view here and say that Katie Concrete Services was the client that we ultimately sold it to. We're going to create a sub account here. So we just click create sub account and we do blank snapshot, add account manually. And then I'm just going to put my name in here, but you would put your client's name if it was a client. Let's see.
If it's a rank and rent site, would you put your name in there still, or would you put
Mhm.
the person renting?
Uh, I would put my name in here still because we're typically on a rank and rent site. Kind of up to you, but we're typically just forwarding leads over to them. They're not going in and logging in and changing the site or anything like that. But maybe if we put the chat widget and stuff on, we might do that. So we'll figure that part out.
You
Business
know what
name.
else? Go ahead, Jason. While he does
No.
that. Well, the only thing that I'm thinking, the other great thing about having a rank and rent site is sometimes we get pushback from clients because they don't want to forward their phone number. They don't want to change their phone number because, like, on their marketing, they are already have their phone number on there. So sometimes you get pushback from that. But when you have a rank and rent site, then, it's going to be our number. Everything is already forwarding to us, and it just makes that process a lot more seamless.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to convince them because it's your site. So you're just forwarding phone numbers to them, forwarding phone calls to them.
Right.
Katie Concrete Services.com. Is that right?
Mhm.
Services or service?
Is it
Service.
services or no, it's service. No plural. We are the only.
Okay. And then Central Time. And then it's really easy after this. I'll show you how we're going to move the site over.
All right.
So now this is a new sub account inside of our dashboard. So if this was an actual business owner, we would give them a login to the site, which I'll show you how to do.
Okay.
So we switch to the sub account. Then we go to settings and then my staff. And you add an employee. So it's a little weird, but they're technically an employee of the sub account. So they could be the owner, the admin of it, but they need their own login.
Okay.
So we click add employee. We put their name and contact info in. So I'll do
You can
yours
use
here, Wanetah.
me. Yeah. But not my contact info.
Test.com. 222.
Favorite.
And then typically I'll make something simple like easy password 123 or something, just for now, and then they can reset it later. So we'll just do. Okay. Then all we have to do is just make sure that they are, if we're giving them access to this, that they are an admin of it. Here's also where I get a lot of questions about if you want to limit the features that you're setting up for somebody, you can turn things off like the dashboard or appointments or anything you want to. You can turn those things off for that user right here. So if you only wanted them to see the website, you could turn everything off except for websites here.
So meaning like social planner and the reviews, everything that you could actually be charging more for.
Yep. And then later on, you could go through and say, okay, you've been using our site for a couple months. Hopefully, it's doing great. Would you like to add a missed call text back and a chat widget and all those things? And if they say yes, you just send them a new bill and then you just toggle those things on. And now they have access to those in their dashboard.
Okay.
And then you just want to make sure that they um, are an admin of the account so that they can uh, go in and update their information or whatever if they need to. Okay. And we hit save. And now instantly when I hit save, they get an email about their login and everything if you're giving them access to this site. But that's
Okay.
basically how you set up a sub account. Now, the final thing we need to do is move our site that we created over to this sub account. So this is Katie Concrete Service, right? So we're going to switch to our Trendify site, our Trendify sub account, I should say. And then we'll go into our sites. And then all we do, it's this one here, bathroom remodeling. We should rename that.
How do you do that?
So I'm going to
Like
hit
that?
edit, settings,
Katie. Katie
Katie,
Concrete Service. The end.
and then I hit
Yeah.
save.
Awesome.
Okay. Now when I go back, it's down here, Katie Concrete Service. And I can hit clone, or I can, yeah, I guess it's clone. So hit clone to the location. It says select up to 3 locations. I'm going to find Katie Concrete Service. Hit confirm. And now this site is getting copied fully over to their dashboard. What's also unique is now I still have a copy of it here. So
Hmm.
if in the future I wanted to uh, build this site or alter it for Houston concrete or anything else, I can just go in, do the same process, duplicate this in my dashboard and build it out and then deploy another one, change the colors, change the logo. But a lot of the work that I've done is already there.
Okay. So, but that means that the Katie Concrete Service website in their sub account, that one is in real time. All of the changes and adjustments that you make in that one stay only on that one, and this one stays the way it was when you first created it.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So now everything we do from here on out, I'm going to move over to that Katie sub account. Let me find it here. So now this dashboard is only going to have that one site in it. Okay, so here it is. Now we need to, let me check my notes there and see. Building a site, setting up, transfer domain to sub account, buying, attaching domain. So we talked about buying the domain. I'm going to attach the domain to this here.
Hmm.
So
And if you can just be right there for a minute, because we get a lot of questions about this for the sub accounts. So this is what typically every client's sub account would look like, right? When they log in, all they're going to see is their business. When you go into their sub account, all you're going to see is their business. So the dashboard, the conversations, the contacts, all of that will be independently in there for them. So it will be its own entity.
Yep. It's just like you, and if you've ever bought access to software of any kind, you only see your information. It's not like if we're both customers of it that I can log in and see your stuff and you can log in and see my stuff. They log into your software, but they only see Katie Concrete Service information. They only see the contacts and the leads for Katie
Right.
Concrete. They only see their stuff.
It's like you having a Facebook account, right?
Yep.
Facebook sees all of the insides. They see all of the accounts, right? But you only see yours.
Yep. Exactly. Awesome. So let's go into this account. And now we're going to connect the domain. So this is if you're buying it for yourself, you're getting it from a client, any of those things. So we just go to settings. This is inside of that website that we built. It says, please select a domain. So if we click add or edit domains, add domain, then we're going to do katieconcreteservice.com. And this is a thing you always want to leave checked on so that the www dot and just the straight katieconcreteservice.com are both going to point to the same website. So it's just a little
Okay.
thing you have to do there. You can do this manually, but HighLevel has made it really easy. If your client does buy it on a GoDaddy or um, there's another one called Cloudflare that I use a lot as well. Those tend to connect really easily. So it's going out and it's searching, where is this domain registered? Is it GoDaddy? Is it one of the other places out there? Oh, your domain provider is GoDaddy. So it found that already. So all I have to do is click authorize domain, and it's going to go in and set up all the stuff for me. So I don't need to learn about um, adding all these different codes and things. It's a pretty complex process, but HighLevel has now made it that you can do it within a few clicks if it's one of these premier places.
But it's not an easy process if you're doing it by yourself, right?
It's just a
Like if
lot
I had
of
to go in and point to and all of that,
yeah. I'll
right?
show you.
For someone not using high level, it would
I'll show
be
you that as well. Yeah. So this is the easy way to do it, and hopefully, if you have, that's why I use GoDaddy or Cloudflare or one of those other services, because it's so easy. This should be done in about 15, 20 seconds. But
Oh, so you're saying it's because it's coming from GoDaddy that this is that simple?
exactly. But I'll show you
Okay.
the manual way to do this as well.
Okay.
So it says now that it's connected, we have to link the domain. So we're going to link it to that website, and we're going to link it to the home page. So that somebody goes to katieconcreteservice.com, they're going to go to our main landing page.
Why does it
Okay.
say copy?
Just because I copied it from my other one, but I can remove later.
Okay.
So now Katie Concrete Service and www.katieconcreteservice are all linking to my home page. I'll show you if I were to access something else. Let's see. Let me think of one that I own.
HTTP. Oh, okay.
Um,
What about
just do this. Well, actually, I don't want to do that.
you can do Wanetah.
I think yours is already done. I'm just going to click add record manually. So here's what you got to do. If you have to do it manually, you have to go into the place that you've registered your site. You have to add these records, which is easy, but it gets a little complicated if you don't know what you're doing. So you have to go into like the DNS settings and add these records. That's why I prefer to
Yeah.
not do it.
That's what sucks. So, just to clarify, then so GoDaddy, if I purchase a domain from GoDaddy and from Cloudflare, then it'll be really easy using high level and connecting all of this.
Right. And there's
But
others too. Those are just the ones that I use and know that they work with high level.
so what do you look for when you're shopping domains and you're looking for a good company that's going to connect with high level? How do you search that?
I don't know. Let me see if they have a list of the ones that they work with. But if not, yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, here's some. Uh, well, they have instructions here on how to do it. I'm not sure. I know they work with a
Okay.
bunch of different ones. I've just only used GoDaddy and Cloudflare, so I'm not
Okay.
sure.
But if that was the case, then you'd have to go back and forth into the domain provider
Yeah,
and get all the information and just insert it.
yeah. So you got to go into the domain and go to the DNS, and then you have to go and add a bunch of records and things to it.
And how do these
So
website companies work as far as the domains? Does every company have the same domain available, or do
so
certain domain stores have certain domains?
There's some limitations, like some places won't do a .ai domain for whatever reason, but for the most part, GoDaddy or any of these others, you can register just about any domain. Then once it's registered, then you renew through that same company over and over and over again. So it's kind of like you're
Okay.
renting that domain, even though you feel like you own it. But if you ever, same thing we talked about with the websites, if you ever stop paying for the domain, then you don't own it anymore. Somebody else can get it.
And so, why would someone not use something like GoDaddy or something compatible with High Level?
Just
Is
some
it
people have
cheaper?
preferences because yeah, other places like you'll find deals sometimes where it's like 99 cents to register a domain or whatever. And so they try those other places. And a lot of them will work with high level. I just don't have a list right now to tell everyone. But
No
GoDaddy is what I just
problem.
always used GoDaddy for better or for worse. Sometimes they're not great.
Hmm. But sometimes they are
Yeah,
in this situation.
exactly.
All
So
right. 444.
So we got the site set up. We've attached the domain. We're going to now set up the chat widget, and we're almost done, guys. I know this is a long video, but I want to make sure that we cover most of the questions we've been getting asked.
Yeah, you're doing great. This is what they asked for, step by step. So, is the website live now on the
Let's
domain
let's check it.
since you've
Sometimes it
connected
takes
it?
a little while to do what's called propagate, but let's see, Katie Concrete Service.com. Let's roll the dice and see what happens.
Are you using Yahoo or something?
I'm using a Microsoft Edge because
Start.
Chrome wasn't
Okay.
working for some reason.
Okay.
So bam, now our site
Look at
is
that.
connected. It's an ugly site for now, but we're going to go in and
It'll
clean
look
that up
nice
later on.
later.
Yeah, when you guys go to it at some future date, you'll see this is much different. But that's the general idea. So yes, the site does work. And what you may not have noticed is there is no chat widget right now, but we're going to fix that in one click. So
And
all we
so,
do here, go ahead.
as far as that website isn't finished, but is it live right now? Is there a way
Yeah.
that we can just make sure, but keep it private?
No, it's live right now. The only way to not make it live is to disconnect the domain to it.
Oh wow.
So I
Okay.
would eventually wait to do that until you're ready to launch, but for demonstration
Right.
purposes, I made it live because I'll go in later and clean the site up more.
Right. For sure.
Okay. So
All right.
all we
Chat
do
widget.
to set up the chat widget, I'm going to refresh here. For some reason, the chat widget sometimes is hidden on this page, but it should be right
Yeah.
here.
Quit hiding from us, Chatty. Chatty Cathy. From domain to delivery. From domain to
Hmm.
What are you doing?
I just went to the chat widget and clicked it and came back here to see. Yep. So, okay. So, what we had to do, for some reason, it was a little glitch here, but I had to click over to this chat widget section and it just shows me the chat that's here. You can obviously you can change out the image to something that looks more like a concrete answer, or you can leave it as this lady.
Construction worker.
Yeah, if you wanted to, or put your picture or whatever you wanted to do here. Change
I
the stuff around.
highly suggest that you at least change that picture because that is the picture for everyone's chat widget. So it just comes off as really generic and someone's going to feel like they're talking to a chat widget versus a real person. I know it's such a subtle difference, but at least do that.
Yep. And you'll see a couple things here. We're not going to get deep into AI on this video, but there is now the ability to turn on live chat and incorporate AI responses so that if you do start getting leads to this site, AI can start engaging with those people and trying to convert them into a sale as well. So that will be a whole long video in and of itself. But basically, what I had to do is go over here, just hit save. And then when I go back to the website, then we just have a little button to tick on, and that will turn the chat widget on. So I go back to the site, hit settings, and then down here is chat widget. And we just turn this on and hit save. And if we refresh our site here, we should have a chat widget now.
We did have a comment about someone asking if we've ever had anyone who didn't want the chat widget, and we've had comments on people who don't like that chat widget. But I really want to encourage you to put the chat widget on the website. And the reason is because, one, even if they don't like the chat widget, you can let them know that you'll be able to at least track the leads, track the traffic that comes to the website, and ask questions. Now, whether or not they're able to get to that lead in time is a problem that you can later solve because the AI is growing at a rapid pace and it's getting really good. And this is going to be a premium service that you will eventually, if not already, be able to offer to your clients. And it's going to be so much easier of a sell to say, hey, look at all of these people, look at all of this traffic coming to your website that you're not able to connect with fast enough. Right now, we can do that for you. We can do it really well. So it's going to be an easy sell. You definitely want this to be on there. I know that chat widgets haven't been great in the past, but that is history. That's history.
Yeah, it's a great service, and we'll talk more about that on other videos. We already have some videos on this, but as this AI rolls out, it's going to be even more important, and it's going to be incredibly helpful to help your clients and yourself if you're doing the rank and rent sites convert leads. All right, I need to swap my battery real quick.
Alrighty. Let me tell you guys a joke. I've got a joke about robots. Not hey, what about notarobot.com? Notarobot.ai. Not a robot. Chat bot. Cell bot. Answer bot. Not bot. Not a bot. Better than a real person.com. Oh, my ears hurt. Uh, we're doing a 2-hour video, but it's gonna be shorter than that. You ready?
Ready.
Oi, oi, oi. You're doing great.
Thanks.
This is amazing. Give the people what they want.
All right, so we've come a long way. Let's kind of refresh our list here and just see what else we need to talk about. So we've talked about the differences,
Just
why
set
we're
up the
hosting on high level. We picked the niche, we did competitor research, we bought the domain, we built the basics of a site, we set up a sub account, we transferred it to transfer the domain over to the sub account and attached it. We set up a chat widget. I'm going to talk to you about phone numbers, and then we'll do a brief thing about finding clients and how to actually charge so you can collect money. And then we'll get into some FAQs and wrap this thing up. So, phone numbers. Phone numbers are extremely important for a couple different reasons. Number one, you need you need to be able to use it for the texting back and forth. Number two, you need it to be able to forward incoming calls over to either the client that is renting the site from you, or to track leads that are coming in for somebody that's using your software on a monthly basis. And the missed call text back, a lot of those things rely on the texting phone number that we set up. So I'm going to show you where to set up those phone numbers in this account. This is not free. It does cost a couple bucks to do, so just be mindful of that. And it's a couple bucks a month. If you don't even make any calls or do any texts with it, it still is going to cost you $1 or $2 a month to do. But it's well worth it to be able to track all this information.
Yeah, if
So we're
someone ever asks you to, if they don't have to use their phone number or if they don't have to track or change their number, just tell them no. It's just, it's a deal breaker. No,
yeah,
you have to be able to track your success, their success.
yeah. So what we do is we're under our sub account for Katie Concrete Service. We're going to click on phone numbers. And phone numbers have changed a lot over even the past few months. There's something now called A2P, which is basically where you have to register a phone number and attach it to a business. You can do it under your own name for now, or you can attach it to the business owner if you've ultimately are doing this for a client. But I'll kind of walk you through the process here. The easiest thing to do when you're first getting started is set up a toll-free number, because they're under a little bit less scrutiny as of the recording of
Scrutiny,
scrutiny under the
scrutiny.
yeah, scrutiny. I don't know, either one. Um, so we're just going to click on add phone number, and then you can do it anywhere in the world, but or any most countries as well. I'm going to do this filter thing, and I'm not going to do a local number right now. I'm going to do a toll free number, and let's try an 888 number to start with. I like those, but you can do 866, or 800s are typically unavailable through this, but 888s sometimes are. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the numbers of this, but I just want to show you where it goes. So you can pick any of these numbers. One thing I would recommend, though, just a small thing, is before you actually buy one, I would Google it and just make sure that it doesn't go to some spam website or some reason that it used to be used for that you don't want to be messing up what you're doing now. So say we were going to do this one, I would Google it really
Let's
quickly.
do that 936 number.
This one.
Second one. Yeah.
Okay. Let me search Google on this. I'm using this Microsoft Edge browser because my Chrome wasn't working and it keeps coming up with this political stuff. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why I asked. It's like, what are you looking at?
all right, so no result, which is good. So we just want to make sure it's not previously listed as like some site that you didn't want it to be associated with. So that's good.
Would it show you the history of
It
the
may
phone number?
it just may say like call this number for some bad service that you shouldn't be
For a
associated
good
with it.
time.
Exactly.
And
So
grandma has already blocked that number.
so price is $2.15 for, and this is per month for this site.
Oh, wow. How much are the regular local area code numbers?
I think the locals are like $1 or something a month.
So do you
Um,
think it's best to have an 888 number? I know it's easier to go through this process, but is it just as answerable?
it's better to, in my opinion, if you're going to do a local service, to have a local number. I just wanted to show you the easy way to get started if you have a client that, because it takes a little bit longer to get your local number approved than it is for a toll-free number, but we'll do that too, just so you see both of those. Because I think
Okay.
for our site, it'd probably be better
Yeah.
um, for a local number. So let's do 832. We'll do local instead of toll-free. First part of the number.
What is
That's gonna.
MMS?
I think it's like image texting or something. I'm
Hmm,
not sure.
okay. Want to Bellevue. All right.
So hopefully we could find one that
Nine
says
eight 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 one
that's a good
eight
one.
three two.
So we'll Google that.
We just saved $1 as well. $1.15. $12 a year.
So nothing specific
12.
coming up. You'll find a lot more on the local numbers that you have to check these than the 800 numbers. But nothing's coming up for that specific number. The Feed Foundation. I'm not sure what that is, but
Sounds nice though. It doesn't sound bad.
yeah,
Maybe a nonprofit.
maybe. Okay, so we'll select this,
Okay.
proceed to buy.
And let the games begin.
Okay, then it says A2P registration required. Um, to use this number, you have to go through that. That's a longer video, so I'll do a totally separate video just on that process, so you can find a lot of other people that have done good videos on it as well. Um, but I'll show you. So we have to do a bunch of stuff here. So I'm not going to go through that part, but once it's approved, then you can start using it for the text messaging, for the chat widget to respond to text messages. You can forward phone calls, all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to show you where to register it.
Are you sure you don't want to do it? Because we can always just clip this.
No, I can't because
Okay.
I need to set up a bunch of other stuff to do it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So we've gone through everything. Now we'll just talk briefly about finding clients, whether this was for a rank and rent site or for somebody that you're just building a basic site and then you're going to find somebody to ultimately use that site and pay you $200-300 a month with all your bells and whistles and chat widgets and all that stuff. We've talked a bit about this on other videos, so I won't make this too long. But if I was going to look at a concrete company in Katy to use this, just going to look on Google and find some great people to, if you want to have somebody use your website and they're going to take ownership of it, so you kind of have just the basics of it, then I would find people that don't have a website or don't have a great website. So we can find those people by, uh, let's see, more businesses. And then we've done this before. You can just look through this list and find people that don't have a website listed here, right? Or we can start
Mhm.
clicking through and finding people that have an outdated website. We've talked about this a bunch on other sites. But for the rank and rent style, somebody who is already um, on Google, we want to have them rent out our site too. I would totally reach out to all the people that are under these sponsored ads because they're already paying to be at the top of Google. Now we could give them a solution that was probably less than what they're paying to rank on Google as well. They can continue paying if they want to and just take another space, but then they can also rent our website, assuming, like, say our website was um, this one, KD Concrete Pros, they could have the site that they're paying for plus the top organic ranking right here, renting out our site for $1,000 a month or whatever we end up working out with them. That makes sense?
Yep.
Cool. So let's get into some charging for sites. That's an important thing. So we get a lot of
Um,
questions about. Go ahead.
I want to ask you a question about when you're talking to a client and they are already paying for a sponsored ad, right? And you're saying, I could do it for cheaper, most likely, and they're paying you $1,000 a month or whatnot. What are the other benefits of renting a website versus running ads? Because if you run ads, are you likely to eventually organically rank?
No,
Oh, really?
they're two totally different things. If you're running ads, I don't think that it has much of a factor as far as my knowledge of you organically ranking, because then
Okay.
they would just be like whoever pays the most can rank the highest,
Hmm.
organically as well.
Okay.
So advantages are just that the costs of advertising are ever changing, and it's, as competition heats up, you might be paying $100 a click for something that last month you paid $50 a click for, and it's just an ebb and flow. You never really have consistency in your spend, right?
Okay.
With organic, okay, I'm going to pay $1,000 a month to this company, and on average, I'm getting around 50 leads a month, 100 leads a month, whatever it ends up being. You kind of have a flat fee that you're going to be comfortable with.
Okay. And then my next question is, when you start to rank a website, right? You don't necessarily have a client yet, but you're going to need someone to fulfill those leads, right? So you're not ranking yet, but you have a website. What is that like when you first begin?
Right. So I would set up the phone number, and then have those phone calls forward to me first of all. And as I'm getting those calls, if I start getting a couple, I'm going to already think of like build a prospect list of 5 or 10 people that I would reach out to. And I would just act as an answering service basically. So I would say, Katie, Concrete Services, this is Jason. How can I help you? And they'll say, hey, I need a quote on whatever. And I say, you know what? No problem. Let me get your name and number, and then I'm going to reach out to one of our contractors and have them give you a call to give you a full quote, or we'll figure out what that script is. But
Mhm.
that's basically what I would do. Then I would reach out to
Mhm.
those top few people, say, hey, I got a couple free leads here for you. We have a site that's getting a bunch of concrete uh, inquiries, but we don't do concrete. We just are ranking for it. So I want to give you those free leads for now, and then if they turn into deals, maybe we can talk about doing something more long term and just see
Perfect.
how it goes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's talk about collecting payments, because that is something I don't think I've talked enough about in the past. So if this will work for either scenario where you're renting out the site or somebody's going to use your software. You're going to go back to uh, your main dashboard that you're handling all of your agency stuff for. So that's under Trendify for us. And you can either do like a manual invoice, or you can create like a payment link for people to pay you on a recurring basis, which is ideally what you want. So we go under payments here, recurring template. So this is like an invoice that gets sent out every single month. We don't want that. What we probably will do in this scenario, if you're on the 497 plan, what you can do is set up things under let me show you that real quick, your SaaS configurator here. And this will allow you to set up different pricing plans. So you can say it's 97 a month, 297, $1,000 a month, whatever. Or if it's just like a one-off deal where you made a deal for 750 a month for the concrete company, then what you can do is go into your dashboard here for your actual agency, and we're going to set up a recurring product. Okay, so now we're going to set up an automated payment so that if somebody's trying to pay you every single month, that you can actually collect that payment on a recurring basis without having to send them new invoices, because that can be something where you have to start chasing money down every time they get an invoice they haven't paid. You don't want to be a bill collector. You want just that to ding their credit card every single month on the same date. So money hopefully will just keep coming in. So the way that we do that, a multitude of ways to do it, but the easiest way that I've found is to just go into this payment section here and go to products. And then you're going to create a product for that specific member that is going to hopefully rent your site out for 750 a month, $1,000 a month. Or if they're using your software, then you might already have a product set up that is just a same thing for everybody. It's 297 a month for anybody who uses it. So that what you would do one time for this. So here, I kind of did one earlier as a test, but we'll do create product. And then we're going to name this Katie uh, Concrete Website Rental. Yours might be uh, abcsoftware.com monthly service or whatever it is. Then we pick the product type, which can either be a service or you can do digital goods. Then we want to make sure this is recurring at, in this case, 750. Let's do um, let's do 800 a month. So I make sure I keep it the same as, or keep track of it. If you want to do a setup fee, like it's $500 to get started and then $800 a month after that, you can do the setup fee here. Then I hit save. And then you just need a landing page so that they can actually put their credit card payments in. So we're going to save this and go over to our sites and just create a quick little funnel here. Again, if you're doing this like the same product and it's the same price for every person, you only have to do this once. But if it's a unique funnel that is for a specific person only, then you'll have to do this every time. 80 concrete website rental.
So, Jason, are you saying that if I were a client using this as a CRM, using this just to send payments or collect payments from my clients or my customers using high level, then I would set this up one time and and just set it and forget it, and it works the same way for everyone. But because you work with a bunch of different clients, you're setting this up individually. Because the
Yeah,
only
because
one
the
person will be renting this specific product.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just going to add a new step here. You can call it whatever you want. Payment page, create the funnel. And then all we're going to add to this page, you can make these as fancy as you want, but just for time purposes, we're just going to add the shopping cart widget, which allows people to put their credit card information in and complete their payment.
Yay.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
Pay us.
So we're going to add a row and a column and an element. The element is going to be the shopping cart.
Order form?
Yeah, order. There you go. Oh, I was just there. So you can do a one step or a two-step order form. I just typically like to keep it easy and do one step.
Actually, it's not called form at all.
No, it's called order.
It's just yeah, just type in order.
All right. And now this is good. Now we just need to attach the product that we just created to this order form so that it knows how much to charge the person. All right. So we're back on our main page here. We just need to click over on products here. Click add a product. And then we're going to find that one that we created, $800. Hit save. And then once that's saved, if we go back to our site here and preview it, it should fill in all the information there. So here we are on the page, and you can see that now we have the $500 setup fee and the $800 per month. So the future payments would be $800 on this. If you want to take the setup fee off, you can, and it would just show $800 here. But all they do is they complete their order here. And now every single month, 30 days from the date of today, they will get charged that same $800.
Awesome. Now, is there a way to give them a receipt, an automated receipt every time that they make a payment?
Yeah, good question. So under payments here, you just got to make sure that over here on settings, you have receipts enabled, and you can say what you want the receipt to have a prefix. It'll say receipt for Trendify or whatever your company is would be the subject, and then hit save, and that will go out every time you make a sale of any kind.
Okay.
Cool. So let's recap, see if there's anything else. I know we have a lot of Q&A questions here. So we covered basically everything about high level, picking a niche, competitor research, buying a domain, building a site, at least a basic site, how to set up a sub account, transfer a domain and attach it to that sub account, how to set up the chat widget, basically how to register a phone number. We will have future videos on the longer form of how to actually do the A2P registration, because that is a little bit involved and very specific that you have to be with that. Finding clients and then charging for sites. So let's get into some FAQs, shall we?
Sure. And a lot of these you have already covered, but number
Okay,
one,
cool.
can you rank a site in a city without a GBP, a Google Business Profile, which was formerly called a GMB, a Google My Business? Can you
Yeah,
rank a site in a city without that?
yeah,
Basically, without having a location, right?
yeah. Without it being attached to a Google profile. So if we look at the Google here, I'll just prove it to you versus just saying yes. So Katie Concrete Company, and we'll see the number one ranking is the site that we were looking at, which was the rank and rent site we looked at earlier. So the number one organic site is Katie Concrete Pros, and they are not in the Google business profile anywhere here.
Okay,
If
so that is just kind of like a business directory on Google.
So it does benefit you to have a Google business profile because you would essentially
Okay.
have a ranking here and a ranking here. So you get even more real estate on the first page of Google. But what you do need is a physical address in that city. So if you're not there locally and you don't have an address to register for that company, then it's a little harder. There are some gray areas on how to do that by renting a local mailbox at like a FedEx or something, but some of those are starting to get found out as well. Another option is once you have a partner that's renting your site, maybe they have an address that you can use to get an additional business profile there. But overall, you don't have to worry about that. If you can't get the business profile, figuring out a way to do it, then you can still rank number one without that. So don't let that
Hmm,
deter you.
that's interesting. I guess my question is like, when we see that Google ranking or we see that Google profile as just a viewer, as just a potential customer going and Google searching, we have no idea what that really means. We don't know that that means that they're indeed local businesses, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, it's just an additional way for you to show Google that you're local, and then especially if you're a local restaurant or kind of getting walk-in traffic and you want to register your address, that gives Google even more information. So that's a whole other rabbit hole we can go down as far as Google business profiles. But eventually, if you have a way to do it, it absolutely is beneficial. But my point in this whole spiel is that you don't have to have it to rank.
right. No, I totally get it. And I can edit a lot of this out. I just what I'm wondering though is what was the benefit there? Was it that it came up sooner? So there were sponsored ads and then there were the Google profiles and then they were the organic rankings.
Yeah, so the map pack is what this is called, and
Okay.
it's basically showing top results. So clearly, if you're like here, you're going to get the bulk of the traffic, but you can still get a lot of traffic right here as well. So it does. It's this is much more beneficial than this, but this is a lot harder to get as well. Is to rank in the top of the map pack.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
It's hard to rank there?
It's just hard to get if you don't have a physical location there. If you do have a physical location, then it's up to reviews and those types of things, which you talked about in other videos. You can help
Mm,
people get higher in the map pack by providing them other services that high level can do, like the review widgets and the connecting their Google profile to this so that they get the little chat icon. Those types of things will help them rank higher on here.
okay. So if you are providing a marketing service, you do not have, you're doing a rank and rent site, so you don't have a physical location within your city, the answer is to just not worry about it. Or
Yeah,
is
for
there a
now.
different solution that you could do to get a Google profile?
I mean, really, for this area, I don't want to give any advice because there's gray areas, like I said, of how you can pretend like you're a local business or something like that, but or just getting some random person that lives in the area to give you their address. Because what happens is when you apply for this, Google will send out a postcard to that location, and then you have to go online and put in a little code.
Hmm.
Um, so they're mailing something to somebody in Katy, Texas, in this case,
Right.
saying that that's their location. So,
No,
um,
I understand that. And I think it's important that you don't try to bamboozle Google, right? But if you are working with a client and they are ranking your, or they're renting your site, then the best thing that you could do is use their actual location,
yeah,
right?
if they
Which
haven't,
they would most likely want you to do. If they're renting your site, then we should be putting their address on the information as well.
yeah, you can only register an address for one business. So if they've already
Mm,
claimed it, is what it's called. They've already
mm,
claimed it for their business, then they can't use their address. But if they have like mailbox A and mailbox B, then maybe they could do that as well, where you can use the other address that they have available to attach to your site, which would be
mm.
beneficial to them.
Interesting. And then I have another question about the ranking. If there's someone's renting it, wouldn't they have an issue with not having their business name on the website?
Uh,
Like
you
if
can
we
total
go ahead.
you could totally do like what that other site did, which was the this is
Yeah, that
managed by
Myers
whatever.
is managing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could do that, or you could put their information on there. You just don't want to do too much because they're just renting it, right? So you don't want, like, if I was renting a house, it's not like I can go in and knock down some walls and things. So there's limitations to what you want to do to your site because if they stop renting it, um, then you have to do a lot to change all that stuff around. Uh, but just putting like a little image on there that says operated by ABC Roofing or whatever is not a big problem.
Okay. And so changing the companies and changing, established in 1999 and all of the about us doesn't really mess with the website.
As far as I know, I mean, I would do a lot of that in images so that it's not text
Mm.
based where Google is reading all of that and crawling it.
Oh, that's
Um,
good. Okay.
so I would do like just an image that says operated by ABC Plumbing, established, and kind of put their logo on it. That would be
Mhm.
okay.
That's smart. Okay.
Yeah,
All
cool.
right.
Let's go to our
Next
next
question.
Q&A.
How can I make it I think they're saying, how can I make it live on the internet without spending money?
Yeah, so we
I
already
think
showed that. You don't have to pay for additional hosting. All the sites on High Level, you just attach the domain and then they host it for you for free. You can have a million sites on there and they don't charge you additional for hosting.
nice. How to transfer site to client and how to manage the website. So you've shown step by step how you transfer the site to the client. So basically, just to clarify and make sure that I am correct and I've learned this, you've shown us how to move. You basically you copied the website from your sub account that you created the website in, and you just copied it over. You created a new sub account for the client, and then you copied the website over to that. And as soon as they log in, then their website is right there under sites.
Yep,
And it's easy as that.
exactly.
Okay.
Cool.
But how do you manage the website?
So same thing. I mean, I don't know what detail you mean by manage, but if you're
Yeah.
just talking about editing it, then you just log into their particular sub account and you can go and log into the site and change things around.
All right. Easy peasy. How many websites can you build with the $97 plan? And that answer is unlimited, correct?
Yeah, so you can have unlimited sites, but understand that you can't have unlimited chat widgets, unlimited phone numbers attached to each site, those types of things. So you would then want a new sub account for each of those sites so that you can have the full array of high level options, chat widgets and phone numbers and automations and things to keep them organized.
Right. So you can build as many sites on your $97 plan, but that $97 plan comes with 3 sub accounts, correct?
Correct.
So that means that you can only officially like sell and run and host 3 websites, and one of them could be yours, and then you could have 2 clients, or it could be 3 clients, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So you can be building as many as you want, but ultimately, once you convert them into paying clients, then you're going to want to have its own dashboard and everything.
Yeah, so start with the $97 plan, build 3 websites, sell those 3 websites to 3 clients, and then when you get your 4th, upgrade to 297. And at 297, how many can you have? How many sub accounts can you have?
So 297, you can have unlimited sub accounts. And so that's really if you're just kind of in the hybrid where you're not sure if you want to sell this as a software, but you do like the idea of renting out the websites or kind of doing the website side, then the 297 plan would be great for you. And then
Awesome.
eventually if you do the 497, then you can have unlimited sites and sub accounts still, but then you get a lot of uh, SaaS or software benefits like being able to rebill for text messages and email credits and all kinds of cool stuff that you can do on that plan.
Right, and then bundle up the pricing, right?
Right.
Okay, awesome. How to charge for the website and upsell features. So that one was a little muddy. I think we answered it in the comment section, but we've shown you how to charge for the website, right? So
Mhm.
Jason put $800 on a price tag on that particular website, but it really just depends. After you do your research, you can see how much you can charge. You can also always start off with maybe 3 months of 800. Let's see how this thing goes for you. If you're satisfied, then moving forward for the year, it'll be 1,000 per month. But he's shown you how you can literally create a recurring payment so that you don't have to hunt down money every month, right? And they can also just have an automated invoice sent to them for their records.
Right. Now, again, I've mentioned the $497 plan. That's the top tier plan at high level. That allows you access to something called the SaaS configurator, and that will let you set up different packages that are consistent for every client. So every person that pays 297 gets the website, the chat widget, the reviews or whatever, and then that gives you a link that you can send out. And every person that pays through that link automatically gets a login, automatically gets their account set up, all that stuff. So that's just an option for you as well.
Okay, so if they were on the 297 plan or the $97 plan, how would that have been different?
So
What were
then
they
they
not
would
able to
not
do?
be able to do that. They would have to do the manual process that I showed today, where you have to set up a, a product and set up a shopping cart and send up a way for people to actually process that payment and then manually set up their sub accounts as well.
Okay,
All which we did today.
awesome. Okay, so you gave us the $97 version or the $297 version, right?
Right.
Of how to do it. Okay. And then I think there was an upsell features. So that is so there was some confusion about giving them the website and then upselling them the software. And you need to look at it holistically. Like everything is the software, right? So, but it's instead of just selling a website, you are selling a website with services, with automation, with AI. You're selling all of these things. And with the 497, you can literally go in and create a bundle, create a package for people that says, I'm giving you the website with a chat widget, with Google Chat, with, missed call text back, with reviews, automated reviews. I'm giving you, the whole shebang for X amount of dollars monthly, right? And you could also have, this person is just using the social media calendar for, 197 a month. And you can have all of these different packages and all different kinds of clients. And every time someone purchases that package, they automatically get sent the correct pricing, and you can just have automated payment plans and go from there. And all of that is pretty much done for you after you set it for one time. But
Yep.
if you're on the 97, you could still offer all of those different things to different clients. You're just going to have to manually set it up as well as the 297 package, correct?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Next
Awesome.
question.
All
I'm
right.
passing the high level test. Okay, how to charge? How do you deal with domains? Do you eat the cost or have the client pay for it? So we get asked this question a lot, and typically, and I think you covered that in this. But if a client is really not tech savvy, right, and they are just getting their domain name for the first time, you really do not want to put them through going on GoDaddy, purchasing it, right? And then setting it up themselves. Like, maybe if they want to purchase it, that's fine, but just make it very clear that that there's a difference between owning a domain name and the actual website. Okay. But if someone is just not tech savvy at all, you just don't want to create any friction. They're already overwhelmed, they're intimidated. You just want to go in there and save the day. So in that case, Jason and I typically will just buy the 10.99 website, the $10, $12, and we'll just eat that cost just to get the ball rolling, and then from there, if we ever split ways or anything like that, and they want to take over the domain name, they want to keep that, but they don't want the website or the services anymore, then you can just let them know, hey, it's $13 uh, a year or whatnot. You can go to this site and then it's theirs from there. Like, you don't have to worry about it. It's not your problem, but also you don't have to hold the domain name ransom, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, I would never do that. And it's easy. I mean, at that point, you would need to transfer it into their own account. So they would need to figure out how to get it set up on GoDaddy or whatever, so you could transfer it to them. But typically, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. So,
If they
and
if
it's
they
up
didn't
to
have the
you. I
domain,
mean, you can charge them. You can say, "Hey, it's $12. Give me
yeah,
$12 and I'll set it up for you." However you want to do it, but we
yeah,
tend to just not worry about it.
yeah, yep. All right, let's get to the next one.
Um, does the chat widget require LC or Twilio phone number? Yes,
Great
Jason,
question.
you talk about this one.
So LC stands for lead connector, which is High Level's white label or gray label, I guess they call it, version of um, Twilio, and that allows you to and their email credits as well through Mailgun. But basically, by connecting to the LC um, email and text and phone system inside of High Level, you don't have to worry about setting up a Twilio account or a Mailgun account or any of that stuff. But to answer the question directly, yes, you do need some form of phone number, which we showed you, to be able to text back and forth those leads on the chat widget. And if you're doing the AI side, you won't need the phone number because you're going to be actually doing live chat, but you'll need other types of things like OpenAI credits or things like that built in. So you do need additional services to make all that stuff run.
So anything involving missed call, text back, when would a client not have to change their phone number or purchase a phone number?
Uh, I typically wouldn't take on a client that wouldn't be willing to at least add a phone number. They don't have to get rid of their phone number, but they do need to have a tracking number to put on your software, so that
Mm,
leads that are coming through that can be tracked, and you can track the voicemails of those things. You can set up automations to send out review requests. All that stuff can be done inside your software, but you can't do it without a phone number. So if they're
right.
like, I'm adamant, I am not telling anybody about this other phone number. I don't want it, whatever. They're just not your client because you're going to
Yeah.
be very limited what you can do for those people.
Right. And
But
you
it
have
also needs to be,
limited proof as far as like what you have done for them,
yeah.
you
And it
know?
also, nothing has to change with them as far as if they're like, we've had the same number for 20 years and our clients know it. They don't have to get rid of that number. What happens
Right.
is you set up a new tracking number. When the people call that number, if anybody calls it, they forward that call directly to the client's current number. So the phone still rings at their office like it always has, but now it's tracked.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Do you charge for the build of the website or do you build the website for free and then charge monthly for the service?
You can do any option. I've seen people do where they charge $1,000 for the site and it's you know, 300 bucks a month. You just have to be clear upfront that this all comes together with, it's built on our platform and hosted by our platform. So if you stop paying for the site at any point, you don't get to bring the site with you to WordPress or another site. This is all a package deal here.
Yeah, and so because of that, I would just say, no, we don't charge for the build of the website. Because if you tell someone you're charging them for the build of the website and later on they don't want the website or they want to keep the website because they paid for you to build it, then it's going to be really confusing when you say, well, I can't give you the website because it's no longer hosted by High Level. So if it's all connected, just make sure your language is really, really clear. Like, you are purchasing the use of this website and you're paying for the hosting as well as the display of the website, but it's all one service. So if we ever disconnect, you can absolutely keep your domain name, but the website in itself and the hosting will be gone. So this is what you're paying for. It's all in one. So
Yep.
make sure that they know that. So don't be careful of using any type of language like, I'm going to give you a free website. I'm going to give you free website design, anything like that, any language like that, where you're saying, I'm going to give you something. When you part ways with them, they are going to expect to keep whatever you gave them in the beginning of the relationship. So just
Yeah.
really keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, just as long as you're disclosing, like when you just said, you can even you can say things like, "I'm going to design it for free," but just as long as you're adding the caveat that it's designed for free because it's on our platform, and you have to continue to pay for hosting. If you do cancel, then you wouldn't be able to keep the site. But that's why I include it all in this package or something like
Yes.
that. So,
Yeah, the website, the design, all of it is included in our software. It
yep,
is our software. You can just talk about it as if it is your software, and I have found that this is a great way to sell this to someone who is non-techie, okay? Because everybody understands what a website is. And then when you start to say what your website can do for them, like my website, we have AI chat, and we can also send a text, an automated text to anybody, to all of your missed calls. If you talk about all of this as if this is one website that can do all of these things, it's just easier for them to understand. Like, it just is, because they understand a website, and then they have to understand is that this special website can do all of these things to help them run their business as well. That way, whenever they no longer want the website, or they're getting all the leads, they're getting everything that they've needed from you, and they go to fire you, or they go to say they don't need your services anymore, then they realize that your services, you are the software. You are the website, you are the software, you are the missed call text back, you are the chat message, you are the automated reviews, you are that whole machine. And once they realize that, they'll stick around,
yep,
right? You'll be their friend forever.
yep.
So try to just make it seem like this one thing that they have to understand.
Hmm. Awesome. I think this is our final question.
Have you ever come across anyone who didn't want the chatbot? And we did talk about that. We will say that we personally have not come across anyone who didn't want the chatbot. However, there are people out there who cannot stand the chatbot, and rightfully so. It's because, you visit a website, you ask a question to the brunette lady wearing the red sweater, and you have a question, and you wait around for 5 minutes for them to answer this question, or that it never gets answered, right? And you're like, oh, this is awful. I just wasted all my time. And it's a really bad impression on that company, right? And so what do? You just go on to the next person. So your company looks bad if you have a chatbot where nobody is there to answer it. And it also looks bad to your potential customer, right? But however, like we said earlier, them having a chatbot now is going to drastically change, because everyone will have a chatbot that can hold a conversation with the clients, that can answer questions, that will be able to answer the question not only 24/7, 365, but they will be able to answer the question exactly how the owner would have them answer it. It will be the perfect employee, right? So it will also make every other employee, the best employees, even better because they'll be able to actually do what they do best instead of sitting around a website or a phone, answering questions, right? So this is going to be something that every business will eventually have. The ones who have it the soonest will be the ones who are doing the best, right? So the reason you want them to go ahead and have that now is because again, you have to have a way to track it. And so if they have a chat widget on their website and they are getting traffic and they are getting questions that go unanswered, at least you will be able to see behind the scenes that they are missing out on a lot of leads. And that is a great selling point and something that you can actually show them saying, hey, look at all these potential conversations, that you missed out on because you couldn't get to them fast enough. Well, I have a solution and you'll have a real solution. It's already here. You should definitely be taking advantage of this and learning it. Jason is watching like 30 videos a day. We're really excited about this thing, but you'll be able to show them. It's easier to sell someone on, hey, now you can have a chatbot that actually works versus selling a chatbot, an AI chatbot to someone who doesn't want a chatbot in the first place, you
Right,
know?
because they probably feel fear on a couple different levels. They feel like, okay, well, now I have another thing I have to check, right? For some random leads, versus if you can just show them the front to end solution, like this is just going to serve you up customers on a platter. They've already been pre qualified with whatever, and they're interested in what you want. So you can get through all the lead sorting stuff, and the qualified leads will rise to the top, and you can just talk to those people. And you're going to get a lot more of them because they're getting responded to very quickly. So it's a
Mhm.
great service, and we can't wait to dive into that. We're going to spend a good part of the new year really getting up to speed and advanced with this stuff, and then bring a lot of training to you guys about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've been talking to a lot of people about them fearing that their best employee, the one who normally goes out and qualifies the leads, or who answers the phone and asks all the right questions, right? Now they'll just be able to do their job faster. You'll still want your best employee there. You'll still need them, right, to act on your behalf and to do what they're typically already doing. But now they just have less questions to ask. They can just work quicker. So, I mean, it's just going to be a win win for everyone. And they'll be able to weed out all the people who, that they really weren't, they really didn't need in the first place. But it's just going to be so much better when you have someone who walks into your establishment who has already answered all the questions. They already have all of their questions answered, and you have all of your questions answered. And you know that they're there and they're ready and they're qualified versus someone coming all the way into your store to ask all the wrong questions, right? And they're just window shopping or they're not a qualified client. So it's going to be great and business will happen so much faster because of this thing. And it will become the norm. I know that right now people talk about, oh, I don't want to talk to a robot, this and that, but they also complain about bad customer service. And that is a pandemic that is going around for sure, is bad customer service. So, things are about to change and I do think they'll change for the better.
I do too. I think it's an exciting time, and there's going to be a lot of great things that come with AI. Obviously, some negatives as well, but overall, I hope it's a net positive, and we all grow from it. So,
For sure.
hopefully, you guys got a lot of value. I know this was a longer video, probably our longest video to date, but we wanted to
Ever.
make sure wanted to make sure that we got through everything. In a broad sense of how to build websites and then ultimately sell them or rent them out to clients. So, if you
Yeah.
are watching this and you don't have a high level account yet, or you want to upgrade your account, you're on the $97 plan and you want to now get unlimited sub accounts, or even go full force and offer this as a software and everything, you can go to ghlfree.com. That will bring you to this site, which will give you a free 30-day trial to High Level and allow you to get all the bells and whistles. And then at the end of that, if you need to downgrade to the 297 or a lower tier, you can. But a lot of people stay on the 497 plan because of all the additional ways you can make revenue from that by reselling text messages and reselling email credits. And what I mean by that is it might cost you as a company a penny per email that a client sends, but you can charge them 2 pennies per email. So that might add up to another few hundred, few $1,000s a month in additional revenue just by making a small margin on those fractional things that people do with your software.
Yeah. And guys, we've done this video specifically because of your comments and your questions. And we really appreciate that. Hopefully, you really appreciate this form of content. Just going through it step by step is what you've been asking for. So please keep those comments coming. We are literally here to serve you. And we really thank you for watching and subscribing.
That's right. So I appreciate all of you for watching again, and we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.